How do chemical bonds form? There are four types of chemical bonds: ionic bonds, covalent bonds, coordinate covalent bonds, and metallic bonds. In this lecture, we will talk about ionic bonds only. The rest of the three will be discussed in three consecutive videos. Ionic bonds are also known as the electrovalent bonds. These are formed by electrostatic forces of attraction between oppositely charged ions. In simple words, when opposite charges, positive and negative charges, attract each other, the ionic bonds form, but these charges belong to two different atoms. The atoms containing positive charge are called cation and the atoms containing negative charge are called anions. When the ionic bonds form, the cation is written first and then comes anion. Cation is formed by the group 1A, 2A and 3A atoms, while the anion is formed by group 5A, 6A and 7A atoms. Considering the cations, let's consider the atoms of group 1A. This is the electronic configuration of sodium that has one electron in its valence shell. Its valence shell is 3 that can accommodate 8 electrons, but it is not possible for sodium to get 8 electrons by gaining 7 electrons from the other atoms. But there is also another possibility. It can lose this 1 electron, and by doing so, the second shell will be its valence shell, and its valence shell is completely filled. Its octet is complete. And after losing this 1 electron from 3s, the sodium will get the electronic configuration of noble gas neon. And in the previous lecture, we have discussed that the atoms undergo chemical bonding in order to complete their octet or duplet to get the electronic configuration of noble gases. And by doing so, their energy is lowered and they get stability. And if sodium loses 1 electron from 3s, all these conditions will be fulfilled for sodium. Here is an equation showing the loss of electron by sodium. After losing the electron, sodium will not be the sodium atom, but sodium ion. Any species that has positive or negative charge is regarded as ion. The species with positive charges are known as cations. The species with one positive charge is known as the monovalent cation. One electron negative at the product side is showing that one electron is lost by sodium. As we know that number of protons and electrons is equal in a neutral atom. When one electron is lost, its proton number increases by 1. Therefore, it gets positive charge. Now consider magnesium that belongs to the group 2A. Magnesium contains 2 electrons in its valence shell. When it loses 2 electrons, it will get the electronic configuration of neon. After losing 2 electrons, magnesium becomes magnesium 2 positive cation. As it contains 2 positive charge, so it is a divalent cation. This is how the cations are formed. The elements of group 3A, after losing 3 electrons, they will become the trivalent cations. And this series goes on. Now let's talk about the anions. The group 5A, 6A and 7A atoms can form the anions. Chlorine belongs to the group 7A. It contains 7 electrons in its valence shell. For chlorine, it is very easy to accommodate 1 electron in its valence shell to get the electronic configuration of argon, that is a noble gas. So instead of losing the electrons, it prefers to gain electrons. And when it gains the electron, it becomes negatively charged because its electron number increases by 1. 1e negative at reactant side is showing that 1 electron is absorbed by chlorine. And after absorbing 1 electron, chlorine becomes Cl negative. And this negative charge, as it is 1 negative, it is a monovalent anion. Any species that has negative charge is regarded as anion. This is how the cation and anions are formed. Sodium cation is formed by losing 1 electron, and the anion of chlorine, that is known as the chloride ion, it is formed by absorbing 1 electron. The electrons lost by sodium is gained by chlorine. The oppositely charged ions attract each other, which can be represented in an equation. Sodium loses one electron, chlorine gets that electron. They develop electrostatic attraction, and this electrostatic attraction is known as the ionic bond. Sodium chloride is an ionic compound which is represented by a chemical formula. In the chemical formula, we do not write positive and negative charges. So Na positive and Cl negative ion is written as NaCl. Now let's talk about the anion of group 6A. Oxygen belongs to the group 6A because it contains 6 electrons in its valence shell. When oxygen absorbs 2 electrons, it will get the electronic configuration of neon. This equation is representing the absorption of 2 electrons by oxygen, and oxygen will become O2 negative. As it contains 2 negative charge, it is a divalent anion. The 2 electrons lost by magnesium are absorbed by oxygen, which is represented by this equation. Magnesium gets 2 positive charge, oxygen gets 2 negative charge. Positive and negative charges attract each other, develop electrostatic attraction, and make the ionic bond, generating the ionic compound. 2 positive cancel out the 2 negative, and the chemical formula of Mg2 positive and O2 negative will be MgO, magnesium oxide. This is all about the ionic bonds. Its definition, which kind of atoms undergo ionic bonds, how the cations and anions are formed, and how cations and anions develop ionic bond, generating the ionic compounds. Thanks for watching.